house. Please, Luigi, come up here.
Hey, Manny, can you put my PowerPoint at the screen, please? Thank you. Hello, everyone. Thank you all to be here tonight. And lights. There we go. So they don't sleep fast. So with the light brighter, they take about 20, 25 minutes. Okay, so tonight I brought this topic here. Most of my topics in Portuguese and English is related to accepting one truth that we, for each other, is the most important things in our life right now. So I always try to bring topics related to this necessity for this understanding. So together we can. The title, we're going to be talking about a lot by diversity. Diversity related to our planet, our nations, nature, and everything else. So in the middle of the talk, if you have any question, you can interrupt me and ask any questions, okay? Or after the topic. I'm okay with that. So let's start. So necessity of social life. So I brought this here. This is from the Spirit's book, from the Law of Society. You know that we have 12 natural laws, and Law of Society is one of them on the Spirit's book. No one possesses the complete range of faculties. Those social union, human beings complete one another and mutually secure their well-being. Because they need one another, they have been created for living in society and not in isolation. So this is on the Spirit's book, under the Law of Society. We all need everyone. The moment that you think that you don't need anybody, that's when you start isolating yourself. The moment you think that you're more important than anybody or different, okay, that's when isolation starts. And this happens a lot, especially in nations in our planet. Actually, every nation, actually, and everybody thinks that they are the favored ones. But throughout this talk, we're going to see more that how we are in need of one another, how important it is to accept one another. And without being together, we are not going to make it, okay? So that's truth. We see the history tell us about all the empires that survived. They never survived history because of isolation. Diversity. diversity, let's see here what it is to be. When you hear the word diversity, we think of race and maybe culture. Of course, when we're speaking about the diversity of ethnicity, race and culture are key aspects. So this is the most thing we talk about. Okay, it's always related to race. Okay, it's always related to ethnicity and also culture. And but we stuck on these three subjects. But diversity is much broader than that. Diversity cuts across all facets of our lives, and it plays an important role, as important as helping us to survive. 3 years ago, there was a strike in São Paulo City on the garbage collectors. You guys remember that? Remember the chaos after 2 weeks? 2 days. After 2 weeks, the entire city was in a standing still. Why? Because nobody was collecting the garbage. Rain was coming down, spreading the garbage all over the place, plugging all the sewers. It was a nightmare. It smelled terrible, and people had a hard time going to work. People had a hard time making the basic living because it was a strike of the garbage collectors. And how often we're thinking about those people? Right? And this is simple. This is something very simple in our society, right? A truck comes in and collect the garbage, and they recycle and put in a place. That way we can live in a clean society. But we never think about those people. Okay, and I was in Belo Horizonte about 2 years ago. It's the capital of Minas Gerais in Brazil. And it was about 5:30 in the morning. I hear a lot of screams in the street. And I got up like crazy, and I look at the window because I was in my sister-in-law's house. And she woke up with me, and then she said, no, don't worry about it. It's the garbage collectors. They do this once a week. They sing loud so they can be recognized. And they'll go in the streets singing very, very loud, screaming, and they were very happy, waking everybody in the neighborhood, but that's okay. You know, that's a way they found out that they existed. So who here remember to put a little gift on your mailbox on a Christmas? I know
the birthday too.
Yes, okay, yeah. Who here knows your mailman name? You do? I know mine too because mine is a Brazilian. And it's small things that contribute to our society. That's the small things that change us. Okay, that's the small things that make us recognize one another. Okay, that's the small things that is going to take us the separation of classes that we have. Oh, he's a doctor, he's a scientist, he's a computer science. Oh my God, let's bow for him. No. Okay, so we are when we are talking to people, and we know somebody very famous or very important, we make the effort to mention that in our conversation. Okay, just to show that we know somebody important, because for us it's still very important to us, but we're still not recognizing the small things in our lives. The small. When I say small, it's not really small, okay? It's things that is not actually recognized in the news every day, right? So it's a small thing, so we can think about that. And that's how we're going to get together, recognize one another. It doesn't matter who they are, doesn't matter what they do, what language they speak, what color of their skin, and what country they come from, okay? We believe in reincarnation. We know that we're going to be born in every country on this planet. We already done that. Okay, so one day I'm going to be Brazilian, the other I'm going to be American, the other I'm going to be Chinese, and so on and so forth, and then keep on going. Yes?
So in the previous slide, the spirits, they were saying that isolation, it's not a good thing for us, and now science is basing that information. We know that, but things, they are going towards isolation, it looks like, because now, for example, you were talking about the the garbage collectors.
Mm-hmm.
So when the automation comes, and then now they are invisible, but then they will completely disappear. So it will be harder for us to connect with each other, and it looks like we are going towards a isolation. So are they spirits talking about something that it's gonna be impossible for us to achieve, or something will happen that we will be better at that? I don't know.
Well, definitely, definitely. We are in a very important time right now for us, especially. Yes, you're right. Things are getting a little scary right now. People are trying to separate ourselves from one another, especially in nations. So we see this all over the place. I left Brazil when I was 19 years old. And I went back. When I went back to Brazil, I was shocked because when I left Brazil, there was no immigrants in Brazil. In 1990, there was no immigrants in Brazil. It was, few Chinese in my area, especially in my state, right? São Paulo always had it, but in my area, it was very hard. In high school, when Chinese people came in or Japanese, everybody was around them. So when they came back now, nice. I mean, everywhere. Bolivians, Haitians, Colombians, Peruvians, things that was not before. And I found out that great. I said, oh my God, this is wonderful. This is wonderful. My city now has, Peruvian restaurants. Thing that when I was a teenager, I didn't even know what it was. So it is, it's always like this. It's stretching down negativity. It's the last stretch of the shadow. That's where we're going right now. And what's going to happen is it's not going to go anywhere. And through the harvest of reincarnation, we're going to see this change of mentality, especially with our kids, especially with our youth. Okay? Go, if you have time, come in on a Monday and sit down with the youth class on a Monday, and you're going to see the difference, how they talk about subject, what they think about God or Jesus Christ or anything else. Woo. Far, far, far that and when I was a teenager. It's totally different. But we don't see this change because we are too focused in our scenario here. But you are right. It's going to get to a point that people, if you ask the question, is the world getting better or worse? Everybody's going to say worse. But no, the world is getting better. It's just that our focus is always on a negativity, on a chaos, on bad stuff. But as soon as we start in focus on the good stuff, you see that we have less wars, we have less conflicts, we have more diversity today, okay? But we still need to continue to defend this idea, especially to give the examples to our youth and to our kids that are coming in right now, all the adults. We are responsible, even though that we don't have kids, okay? If you don't have kids, I do actually, but if you don't have kids, the responsibility is still ours for every single kid, for every single teenager in the world, because we are one. We are one. So diversity cuts across all facets in our lives, and it plays an important role, as important as helping us survive. Without diversity, we're not going to survive. And we saw, we can bring in here the example of the big empires and the Greek Empire. And what happened was exactly this. Okay, they started closing themselves in, even from the closest cousins. They started closing in, and then they got to a point they were conquered by other civilization, and they were destroyed, completely destroyed. We know. Nature can teach us also a lot about the value of diversity. Nature includes a broad variety of plants and animals' life. Such a variety among organisms builds strength and helps us survive. For example, placing all the same trees in a park means that when one gets a disease, they all get the disease. Planting different varieties ensures that some will thrive while others may have to fight off the pests. This is very important because after they discover that every plant in our planet has a system, a defending system from one another, from animals, from the air. As soon as the plant is getting attacked or being eaten by an animal, she started producing a chemical, and it goes into the roots and connects to the other roots for the other plants and tell them, listen, I'm in danger, so you better connect, start producing this. So the leaves started getting more, how can I say, bitter to eat. So the animal eats that one, but and as soon as it goes to the other one, it's bitter, he goes away. You see how the system works? It's all built for us to work together. Nothing was built to work separately. Are considered of the value of biodiversity to ensure that we have food. You may not want to get too, chummy with the bee, but without the bee pollinating our vegetables and fruit plants, we would not have enough food. Who here knows if we exterminate all the bees in the world, how long we'll survive in this planet? Do you know? How many years?
No, I think it's a week. It's not a week. A week?
No. It's years. It's years. But how many years do you think we'll survive without the bees? Oh, yeah, it's between 2 to 6 years. The bees. Huh? The bees. Just the bees. So just the bees. So think about it. I gave a lecture here one day explaining the sand of the Sahara, what it does to the Amazon forest. So, and this is in nature, insignificant things for us today. The sand of Sahara, who cares about that, right? Who cares about the bees? Who here ever cared about the bees? And the ants. No, forget about the ants. You did? So after, I think it was about 12 years ago, about 12 years ago, they did a study here in the United States why the bees was disappearing, and they cannot understand. They think it's the agrotoxics, but it's not only that. There is something else also, but they still having a lot of problems with the bees here in the United States. So who knew? Right?
Don't plant the flowers that is good for them.
Yeah.
The flowers disappear, and they disappear.
Exactly. The flowers are disappearing because our cities are growing too large, and it's not only the size of the city, it's how we are building our cities. So it's okay to have 8, 9, 10 billion, 15 billion people here, but we need to build. We need to understand when we're building something, we need to think about the ants, we need to think about the bees, we need to think about everything. Otherwise, we're not going to make it. We won't. That's simple as that. And now we're just talking about things that we never thought about. Okay? It's hard for us to accept one another. Now, for you to understand that we need the bee, it's going to be a little even harder, right? So plants, we will not have enough food because pollinating, they are the one that distribute the seeds around the world so we can have different types. So do you see how it is? You see things, you see, it's a small thing. It's a very small thing for us to be concerned. But we need to be concerned about that. We need to focus on this, okay? Because right now, it's not so small because it's getting very dangerous, the situation of our planet right now. And we're gonna leave for the last hour to do something? We can't. We just can't. We cannot only study spirituality, only studying, the spirits, God, Jesus Christ. No. Spirituality, it's everything. It's the balance of everything. It's the balance that connects us here on this planet. The air, the water, the sand, the animals, the insects, and most important, one another. What do we know about the biodiversity among people? Studies of practice of inbreeding among royals, okay, families done so as to keep their bloodlines pure. You know that every single royal family in the world today, it is related. Huh? Every single one of them. Even from the royal family from the part of the Oriental world. Even the royal family from Japan. Okay? They are connected somehow to the royal family in Europe. Why? Because what they do, they try to stay with them, right? Cousins marry cousins, and aunts marry aunts, and what they try to keep this pure blood between them. And then what happened? Dating back hundreds of years, revealed that high mortality, poor health, and passing on genetic disorders. A variability among and between all organisms builds strength. So, do you see? As soon as you start oscillating, nature comes in and you're not contributing. The system is like this. You're not connecting. Free will, that's fine. All right. You choose whatever you want. You do whatever you want, but you can't connect it here. You want to stay on your own? All right, you can stay on your own, but there is the responsibilities of your choices, of your beliefs, of your logic. And that's what happens. Right? We all know, I don't know if you saw the documentary about the royal family in Germany and England. They're hiding the siblings that had a mental disorder. And a guy did this study, and there was, dozens and dozens hiding somewhere. And nobody never knew. Even their siblings, their close siblings, didn't know that it existed. So it's just crazy. It's just crazy. What we know, workplace diversity improves the work environment. Okay. So research shows that diversity, those research that I brought here is all done this Ivy League universities here in the United States. Because the United States, it is the research country. They do research about everything. I mean, everything, okay? So whatever you want, you'll find research on it. And they did this research in work groups producing more cognitive processing and more exchange of information. Diversity brings in new ideas and experience, and people can learn from each other. Bringing in different ideas and perspectives leads to better problem solving. Working in diverse teams opens dialogue and promotes creativity. But that's what we don't see this in our workplace. We see competition, right? We see competition. It's very rare that you see one helping one another, bringing a different culture. I work for almost 14 years in big corporations here in the United States, and you need to fight to survive because it is always competition. It's always competition. And they don't recognize you. Even the people that work with you, it's hard to connect because everybody's just thinking about surviving. I need to survive. It's like it's coming, this great problem, and everybody needs to survive. I need to be prepared. For what? I need to survive. What do you mean you're not surviving? When the pandemic started, you went to the supermarket, you saw people buying bags and bags of toilet paper and paper towels.
I never
There's people that are going to have paper towels for the next 30 years in their house. You know? And you go to the supermarket, everything's missing because people that have more money go over there and buy trucks loads. And it forgets the connection. There was a big article today on the internet about that. You know, why our shelves are empty in a supermarket. And as soon as you read the article, you're going to see that it has nothing to do with the pandemic, has nothing to do is China holding this or United States is holding that, or none of that. It's all greedy. It's all greedy. It's all everybody thinking about their own survival. But if I think about my survival and you don't survive, I'm not going to survive either. That's simple as that. Oh, Luigi, but I am 1 in 1 million. Okay, but it needs to start somewhere. It needs to start. It needs to start. And one person makes the difference. The big change in this world started with one person. We see this country with Martin Luther King. In the midst of racism in this country, he went in there and faced everybody. And look, it still need more change, of course, but he started but he made a lot of change. One guy. One guy. So, especially, we see this in a center sometimes. Fights between co-workers. Volunteers. They fight between them. They fight in a company. And the company that supplies their salary, if they fight, they are hurting the company. The thing that brings the food to the table. See how inconsistent we are. Because of greedy, because of stupidity, because of selfishness. We don't see clearly. We don't. Because we are just those donkeys that walk with it. We only see our path. We will recognize nothing around it. The value of diversity is true for our culture too. Our diversity adds spice to life, literally. Cultural expansion gives us great gifts. Cocoa came from Mayan people in Mexico. That's what makes the chocolate, right? Coffee came from Ethiopia in Africa. Winemaking was found in China 7,000 years ago. Was not the French. Okay? 7,000 years ago. Sugar was first developed from India thousands of years ago. And corn, potatoes, tomato, peppers, tobacco, vanilla, maple syrup came from Native Americans in North America. Diversity keeps us healthy physically, financially, professionally, and emotionally. It leads to innovation and creativity. When we live, work, and play in culturally diverse communities, we are healthier, and that's why we need diversity. There is no way to be healthy when you isolate yourself, when you are racist, when you have anger against other cultures, when you have a strong opinion about your own brother. Okay? Because my father taught me this. My mother taught me this. You don't see nobody saying, God taught me this. You don't see nobody saying, Jesus Christ taught me this. No. You always, it's my father, it's my mother, it's my grandmother, it's my grandfather, it's my uncle. Oh my God, my father used to do this. And we continue copying the same thing, and just moving from generations to generations to generations. Our examples is based in our ego. That's what it is. My father, my mother was a strong person. Ooh. My grandmother was a very important person. Ooh. Where is she now? Right? What is important right now? Here is today, is the now. But we are very used to live in the past because ego only survives in the past or in the future. In the present, there is no ego. When we live, work, and play in culturally diverse communities, we are healthier. You know why we are healthier? Because we are doing it what we came here to do. We are connecting to each other. We are accepting one another. It does not matter what are the logic, the choices. I accept him as he is. I will not try to make my way the way of the world. I bet you everybody here in this room has a recipe to fix the world. Right? Everybody does, because when you read something that is very stupid for you, you think like this: I will do it this way. Oh my God, this guy has no common sense. Those words are people that do not accept others, do not respect others. Like we were the king of the jungle. On this level of evolution, we are developing our ego because it is necessary right now as a tool for us. But he's not our master. He's not. Every time you get angry with somebody, every time you get jealous, every time you have any negative emotion, it's not coming from you. It's coming from the ego. This person that is just like you, but we don't observe that. We sustain that like it was a life force. I was born this way. I always done things this way. Well, we cannot accept this. These are the phrases that we use all the time. And we need to stop using those phrases. We need to stop. We need to start somewhere and stop looking the world around us in judgment and start going back home, right here. Going back home. Jesus Christ said, right, where is the kingdom of heaven? What is it? Within you. Lao said, if you seek, Who wants to complete this phrase? If you seek, no. If you seek, you miss it. What do you miss it? The now. If you search, you're forgetting about what? This is Lao. Look how deep this is. We need to start looking in here. We need to start judging in here. We need to start listening in here. We need to start and leave the world to be. It has been here for billions of years without you. Okay? We're going to die. They're going to remember us, what, 2 weeks, 3 weeks maximum? That's it. Then it's just going to be a vague memory because the world will continue. Life will continue. And we will continue also on the other side. Right? But no, we are stuck on this. We are chained to the ground. Diversity and tolerance. Tolerance is the level of ability that someone has to recognize and respect others' value and difference. Being tolerant means accepting diversity and not expressing negativity attitudes towards individuals who are different. Oh my God, we're gonna have to change this, or we're not going to go to the next step. It's a final exam for us. And at the end of the year, right, we always do our final exams to see if we pass or not. That's what it is here, diversity. I wonder why God never made us exactly the same. All blue, or all white, or all black, or all yellow, or all red, or all pink. Why? Why we don't look exactly the same? It's not genetics. It's not. Why? Because we didn't conquer this here. As soon as we conquer diversity, it won't matter anymore. Hair, color, race, class, it won't matter. And then we're going to start coming all equals, looking like it, because it don't change. But we are different, so we can conquer this step. If we don't conquer this step, the things is going to start getting uglier and uglier and uglier in our point of view. Because the obstacles is going to start getting greater and greater and greater. Because we need to pass. That's how evolution works. You don't go around it. There's no go around it in evolution. And that's the reason why we all look different. Because we do not respect diversity. We don't have within us diversity. We don't respect us because we are all the same, right? That's what it is. And things keeps coming, changing every generation. Every generation. Diversity in personality. I mean, that's right. You know where it's to be. Everybody knows where personality is, right? Personality is the amount of choices and beliefs that you bring in with you. That's your personality. Okay? But we have several types of personality. Depends on where we are and what we're facing. Sometimes we are calm. Sometimes we are irate. Sometimes we are good. Sometimes we are evil. Okay? It's like this. We keep using multiple personas. And it's very hard to identify who you are. Because even us, we don't know who we are. When we say I, what do you mean I? Who are you? I mean, who are you? Oh, I'm a very calm person. Who watched that video with the guy filming the rain and he had his window open and he said, listen, people, it's raining a lot. Let's be calm, Let's respect. Let's be considerate to one another. It's a lot of rain. And this guy passed by and throw water inside his car. And then he started cursing like crazy and this and that. So from one personality, he went to another immediately, in seconds. So who are we? We don't know. Because there are so many of them. You don't know the root of it. No idea. Absolutely no idea. Because we are not constant. It's like a worm. It is. And we need to face this. Face on it. Forget about the world. Focus on you. Focus on change that needs to be changed in here. When you look somebody that has an accent, hear that accent or hear that different language and scan yourself and see how you feel. You're going to feel a little achy. I don't like that type of people. Guess where he's going to be born next reincarnation? It's not God punishing us. It's us calling what we need. It's like when you isolate yourself from something, you are actually putting that in a book of reincarnation. Next reincarnation, I'm going to be born in the middle, then this. And as soon as you get on the other side, you have the letter with everything with your signature on it. And you can't escape from it. You ask, we'll give you. Right here. So why fighting? Why fight this? Why put our opinion in things that we cannot change? We are master of that. Masters. Kings of the opinion. So personality, diversity in personality, respect. It doesn't matter who that person is. A good or a murderer. The only connection that we have to do it with is the same energy. It's just the opposite. The only connection that we need to do that is that to respect his choice. And let the system take care of it. Yes, together we can. Every dream begins with a dreamer. Always remember you have within you the strength, the patience, and the passion to reach for the stars, to change the world. Exactly what I said here before. Every big change in this world we saw started with one person. One person. It wasn't a group of people. He went in that, he took hand, and we can give several examples here. Several. Known and unknown. Harriet Tubman, everybody know who she is, right? Is the American Moses. Some people said that she saved 75 slaves. Others said that her group saved about 325 slaves after she freed herself from slavery. But the question it is this. As soon, who here will have the courage to return like she did? After she freed herself with her own will, she looked back and said, I cannot accept this. She constructed a network of freeing the slave from the south and bringing it to the north. And several times she came down here to herself to free the slaves. Now, ask yourself, let's ask ourselves, do we have this courage? Because courage is the attribute of what? You know? Like the intelligence is the attribute of the spirit. And courage is the attribute of what? The strong? No. Courage is the attribute of the heart. People that have heart. People that are on the path of peace and good. Those people has courage, not the strong. The strong has adrenaline. It's different. Courage is an attribute of the one who loves. People that don't love, they don't have courage. Watch it. Observe and you see. And a master brought us here 2,000 years ago with all the courage in the world by himself. In the middle of savages. 2,000 years ago, it was a bunch of savages. Still are, but with technology. But back then, it was tough. And he came in and he faced it alone. Absolutely alone. And it's not hard. It's really not hard because it is within us. All the strength that we need. Okay? everything that we need, we already have. Otherwise, God will be a sadistic person to send us here without the tools that we need. Huh? I'm going to send you there on the jungles of Amazon naked. Did you see the size of the ants that we have in Amazon? What? Just kind of like that. It's like sending your own son, go inside there in the Amazon, bring food, but you go naked, okay? And don't tell them about the ants or about anything. That's a sadistic person do that. But we came here with everything that we need to be happy. And to be happy is to be normal. I see a lot of people sometimes saying, you know, I'm a normal person. No, you're not a normal person. Do not use that anymore. Normal are Jesus Christ, Buddha, Martin Luther King, Gandhi, Mother Teresa, those people, they are normal because they are doing what's supposed to do. And normal people do what? The average thing. What is the average thing to do? Love. We are not normal because we don't do the average thing that we're here to do. We turn ourselves completely in a different direction. So we are unnormal. Is that a word? Huh? Abnormal. So don't say that you are normal because we are not. We are abnormals. To be normal is to follow the laws. To be normal is to follow the laws of the universe. Actually, the law of the universe. Only one. The law of love. Simple as that. Thank you very much for listening to me today. If you guys have any questions, I have a couple more minutes. If not, thank you very much for tonight.